gains. And we're not talking about muscle gains. We know that when we go to the gym and we exercise, that our muscles will adapt to the load that we place on them. So our muscles will get stronger, they'll grow bigger, all that kind of stuff. In this episode, we're actually going to talk about how the discs in our low back adapt to load. It's commonly thought that you can't repair or strengthen a disc. The only thing that happens to them is they degenerate or break down over time. And that's opposed to all the other tissues in your body. So if you look at bone, for example, well, if we put load on it, your bones will get stronger. Same thing with muscles, as we were talking in the intro. The more you load them, the stronger your muscles get. And there was a study published in Nature which looked at exercising to actually strengthen the disc in your low back. And what they did was they took 79 individuals and looked at their exercise history. So they were split into 3 different categories. They had one group that was a no activity group. So in the last 5 years, they hadn't participated in much physical activity. Then they also looked at joggers, which were defined as those who run between 12 and 25 miles per week. And then we had long distance runners who ran over 31 miles per week. And what the study found was that those who participate in either jogging or long distance running had more hydrated discs than those who did no sort of exercise. And on top of that, they actually found that long distance runners showed hypertrophy, so actual growth in the intervertebral discs in the low back. And essentially what that means is that the discs are responding to the load that's being placed on them. And the study found that it wasn't the total amount of physical activity being performed, so you don't have to run for that 31 miles or 15 or 10 or however much. It had to do more with the speed of which you were running, which means to hydrate the disc and to also strengthen the disc, we want to do either some sort of brisk walking or a slow jog, and that was the speed that seemed to help the disc the most. And of course, just like any other tissue, when we're loading, we want to make sure that we're loading appropriately. We're not loading too much, as that can be problematic, and that we're not loading too little, which can also be problematic. And for specific guidelines on that, we don't really know how much is too much and how much is too little. And so when we're starting to load a disc, we want to make sure that we're gradually increasing the load on it and that we're not spiking the load on it, as that'll give it time to adapt to the loads placed on it. And this study is actually really important for people who have low back pain, even though that the people in this study didn't have low back pain, in that it shows that the disc is adaptable or has the potential to adapt to the loads placed on it. There is a lot of fear associated with either low back pain or disc injuries, in that when we start to load it, that we're just going to irritate the disc again and we're going to start that cycle all over again. But the study shows that the discs in the low back can actually adapt to the loads being placed on them, which means that from a recovery standpoint, we can use exercise to hydrate and strengthen the discs. And then also from a low back injury prevention standpoint, we can use exercise to strengthen the discs as well. So in summary, it appears that the discs in your low back can adapt to the loads being placed on them. So that means that we can use jogging and running as exercises to help strengthen the discs in the low back. Thank you for watching another one of my videos. Hopefully you found this information useful. If you did, please give this video a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my content, you can push subscribe, which I think a button's over here or possibly over here. It's on one of these sides. Go ahead and push that subscribe button.